You darn kids.
Yeah, get off my space lawn.
I'll shoot my lasers at you.
Oh, yeah, no, it's way more higher stakes there. Hello and welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List, the weekly show that recommends the best movies, new and old. As always with me, it's a him, Ryan Meyerberg.
It's me,
Nick Luigi.
Nick Luigi.
Nick Luigi. We'll workshop that later. But it works with your name. It actually works with your name. If you just go up to people and say, it's a me, Meyerberg.
It's a me, a Meyerberg.
See, that works. That actually works.
I actually had a better voice than Chris Pratt, I think.
That actually was. No, that's the best accent you've ever done on this show. That is the best accent you've done on this show, my friend.
My accents are great.
Yeah. So yeah, we talked a little bit about Super Mario just because she premiered this weekend.
Yep.
Big box office showing.
Crushed it.
I mean, we knew it would do good, but man, it did more than good.
I think you and I were kind of in the same boat. It'll be a successful kids movie, but we weren't thinking 200 some. Like, no way.
For context, it is now the #1 animated feature box office opening weekend. I maybe made that sound more complicated than it needed to be. What I'm trying to say is it's one of the highest grossing animated movies in one weekend.
The last one was Frozen.
Yes.
And Super Mario left Elsa frozen in the past. Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. Thank you. Thank you. I had time to think about that one, so.
But that is not the main thing we're going to be talking about this week. Big news over the weekend. Star Wars Celebration 2023 occurred, and some big announcements. Lot of announcements.
Yep.
A lot of news. We're going to cover as much of it as we can here. We are not going to cover everything, unfortunately. We're going to kind of skim over some stuff, but with Star Wars being one of the biggest franchises in the world, this being a lot of their future laid out, let's talk about it. Let's see what we kind of look forward to and what you can be on the lookout for. The first thing they really talked about was the Ahsoka teaser trailer was dropped. This is the closest to premiering show or movie. I think it's later this year. And many people probably don't know Ahsoka, at least who are kind of casual Star Wars fans. She was introduced in the Clone Wars TV series. A lot of more people got introduced to her in Mandalorian Season 2. She is probably the greatest rags to riches story as far as fan popularity.
Yes.
Because she was not well liked early on.
No.
Myself included. I did not like her.
There was not a lot of people that liked her in the very beginning. I will say 100%. But now she's getting her own TV show.
She's one of the most popular characters. She's one of my favorite Force user characters, I guess I should say. I would say probably one of the strongest underrated Jedi.
Yep.
Could probably take Luke one-on-one.
Ooh, I don't know about that, but
she's,
okay.
She's faced down Vader.
Yeah.
She faced down Vader.
Yeah.
She didn't necessarily win, but she didn't die, so she didn't lose.
Well, there's a lot of people that faced down Vader that didn't die. They at least looked at him and then...
that doesn't count. I'm talking in combat.
All right.
That doesn't count. So yeah, teaser trailer for that looked pretty good and everything. If you want to know more about that character, like I said before, Clone Wars TV series, great way to start. Also, you can get a little bit more information about her in Mandalorian Season 2. But the other big thing that was premiered as far as a trailer was the trailer for Jedi Survivor. This is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, a video game series. Ryan, did you play Jedi Fallen Order or any of those other video games?
Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to play that particular game. I was more of a Star Wars Battlefront 2. Those were the games that I played. Those were we were very competitive with those games. But I have some friends that played Fallen Order, and they really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so this game, especially Fallen Order, takes place right at the end of Revenge of the Sith when Order 66 is going down. So if you want to know a little bit of information going into that, if you want to start playing that game, maybe just watch Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
It's really all you need to know going into it.
The best Star Wars film of the franchise.
Well,
some would say.
A rigged panel would maybe say. I was in the minority of that, but whatever. Also, another thing they announced, one of the things that I was probably one of the most excited things, I should say, The Acolyte, a live-action TV series. This is coming out in 2024, so not a lot of information has been released about this. What we do know is it will take place 100 years before the events of Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
And its goal is to give the origin of sort of the Sith, the bad guys, the dark side users, how they kind of started to infiltrate the Republic. Palpatine's plan, his whole taking over, that's the first domino was here. Yeah. So this is a series that's going to be from the perspective of the bad guys.
And I think this is going to be, it's going to be good, but I think it's going to be also a little more drama-esque, where it's a lot more of the political playing and how they're doing it, not necessarily the Star Wars fighting style.
It's going to be like the House of Cards, but with lightsabers and Force.
Yes.
And stuff like that, probably. Also, another thing that was announced, Skeleton Crew, another live-action TV series. Apparently, Marvel didn't give them the memo that sometimes these TV series aren't a good thing, or at least as many of them are as a good thing. Maybe need to scale it back a little bit. But you know what? Star Wars will learn that lesson as well, probably.
Because they have a lot of shows now.
I was going to say,
continuing with the new ones.
Yeah, not even counting the ones that are currently on air right now. I don't even know if we're halfway through the announcements here. But this show was described as Star Wars meets the Goonies. A lot of kids, younger characters on a galactic adventure. I guess it's supposed to be a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
Not a lot of story details. One of the things we do know, however, is Jude Law will be starring in the show as well. Now, I don't know if you know this, Ryan, but Jude Law is not a kid.
He's not a kid?
He's not a kid.
Oh.
But they keep talking about how this show is going to be centered around kids.
Yeah.
So I'm curious where he's going to play in all this.
Yep. And I like your reference of relating it to the Goonies, where maybe he's going to be that sloth character.
See, you think he's going to be kind of like Sloth. I wonder if he's going to be like... And maybe I'm just thinking this because he plays Captain Hook in a new Peter Pan movie that's coming out here.
Ooh.
I wonder if he's going to be like kind of like the bad guy, like chasing after these kids.
You darn kids.
Yeah, get off my space lawn.
I'll shoot my lasers at you.
Oh, yeah, no, it's way more higher stakes there. So, yeah, got that to look forward to here as well. Also, another thing they announced, Tales of the Jedi Season 2. Tales of the Jedi was essentially just kind of a collection of stories. They weren't really connected. It was just, all right, here's a random adventure with Ahsoka and a young Anakin or something like that, or here's something from this time period. And so it was just kind of a fun, like, oh, here's some one-off stories, ones we didn't get to. And so they're doing a season 2. Dave Filoni, I think I'm saying his name right, he's been kind of the one who's been spearheading a lot of this new generation of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And he said in an interview that Tales of the Jedi Season 1 was one of his favorite projects because he was able to bring in new, young, creative types and was able to sort of give them these one-off episodes that didn't really have higher stakes. So there wasn't a lot of pressure. But then he was also to kind of like, he used it as like a teaching moment. He's like, all right, here's kind of how we're doing Star Wars. Here's a good like way to get your feet wet, so to speak, in it. And it was kind of like a training montage for them, I guess, really. Yeah. So looking forward to montage. I don't know if that's the best metaphor here, but there we go. Yep.
That's me working out.
Oh, yeah, you and your jumping jacks.
Yeah.
And then another thing they announced, Andor Season 2. This will also be the season finale, or series finale, I should say. Because this story is going to take place right before Rogue One. So for those of you who are confused, well, why don't they do more seasons? Why they know this is going to be the final season? Well, apparently you never watched Rogue One, and I'm not going to spoil it, but in a way I just kind of already did.
Yeah. Check it out, though. Rogue One's really good film.
Yeah, that's really in my top 3. Yeah. That's my top 3 Star Wars right there.
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let's take a quick moment here and talk about the Marshall 6 Theater here in Marshall, Minnesota, the theater with the best selection of movies and concessions around. As the weather starts warming up more and more here, that means better and bigger blockbusters will be gracing the theater screens all across the country. So make sure you stop by the Marshall 6 Theater for the best selection of movies. of concessions, of some great showtimes, and make sure you check out their website to figure out which showtimes work best for you. They plan many of these days in advance, so that way you can plan ahead and get the best showtime that works for you as well. So head on over to the Marshall 6 Theater for the best movies and concessions around.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
But the big news here was the announcement of 3 new movies. Not a trilogy, I should add, although there's been rumors of some other trilogy movies. Rian Johnson supposedly still working on something, but we don't know if. Hey, come on, man. He directed those Knives Out movies. He's got my vote for a trilogy as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, 3 new movies, 3 different directors, 3 different stories here. Let's break them down. Again, Dave Filoni, he is helming a lot of Star Wars right now. I think he has done more stuff positively for Star Wars as a franchise in the last few decades than George Lucas has throughout the entire run. That might be a little bit of a hot take.
Besides creating it and everything.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, George Lucas created it. He worked on the original trilogy. He will forever be immortalized in cinema history. I'm not taking that away from him. But as someone who doesn't like the prequel trilogy all that much, for many reasons, and as you look at what Dave has done recently, especially, he brought the Clone Wars TV series. He brought Rebels. He brought Mandalorian to life with a little help from Jon Favreau.
Yep.
I think he's done more positively for the franchise. So I'm really looking forward to this movie, which apparently will sort of tie a lot of his projects together in one, quote, epic finale. So this includes the Clone Wars TV series that I talked about. This includes The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, the recent Ahsoka. Who knows? It might even have Rebels in there as well. This could be a little bit, depending on how long some of these series go. But I mean, tying this one, I think a lot of Star Wars fans are going to have to do a lot of homework before going into this movie. And that's the only thing I think is going to be hurting it is, I mean, you look at Clone Wars alone, that's like 7 seasons. Rebels, I think, has like 3 or 4, maybe not that many. It was like 3, I think. Mandalorian in the middle of 3 seasons right now. Ahsoka's got its season. Book of Boba Fett has 1 season. And it keeps talking about how this is an epic finale to all these where it's going to tie together. I got a feeling you're going to have to kind of know all this stuff going into it. You're going to
have to be, and it makes me curious as to when is it coming out. If it's going to have all this stuff, does that mean they're done with The Mandalorian? Does that mean they're going to be done with Ahsoka? How long till this film comes out?
Or are they going to time it just right where they have the next few seasons planned for both these shows?
And this
so
is
it leads, and they like know, okay, we're going to work on this movie. It's going to come out right around this time.
Yep.
We're going to do these series and then kind of lead right into it. Kind of like what Marvel is doing.
Yeah.
A lot of their series, like, they make sure, well, this part isn't going to really spoil or it might set up this next movie here. So,
like Hulk's son.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a payoff. We're definitely going to see the resolution to that story. But the other one that was announced, Dawn of the Jedi, another movie directed by James Mangold. He's the one doing the new Indiana Jones movie. He did Ford v Ferrari, which I really loved. He did Logan. You know what? This guy's got a really good track record right now.
Does.
I love what he's been doing. I'm super, super excited for this.
Yes.
For a couple of reasons. One, let's talk a little bit about the story, at least what we know. It's going to be set 25,000 years before the Skywalker saga. It's going to show the origin of the Jedi, how that order came to be, probably going to show origins of the Force. I have wanted this movie for so long.
Yes.
I wanted to dive into this for so long. And the fact that this guy's doing it, I mean, it looks like he's going to nail this Indiana Jones movie, in my opinion. So let's just keep giving him George Lucas properties.
Yeah.
So he fixed Indiana Jones. He's going to fix Star Wars. Heck, let's give him American Graffiti. And then as the final challenge, he has to make a Howard the Duck movie that's good. And yes, George Lucas made Howard the Duck. And not a lot of people remember that.
Yes, he did.
He did Star Wars, and then he followed it up with Leah Thompson. We're not going to get into it. This movie's weird, man. So this is clearly the one I am the most looking forward to.
Yeah, I kind of like we talked about it a little bit ago. This can be so many different things. It is completely open, and it doesn't have to tie into anything. It doesn't have to do anything. I think it's going to be awesome. I hope it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, the last little announcement they made here. I shouldn't say last. There's one more after this. But the last big announcement they made here, another movie named New Jedi Order. This one's going to be taking place 15 years after the most recent movie. As of right now, we know Daisy Ridley is going to be back. No word on any of the other sequel cast. We were kind of talking beforehand.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're alone in this. We hope John Boyega comes back. We hope Oscar Isaac comes back. Because I feel like they really set those three up as a great group in the first one. And then they did nothing with them in the second one. And then they finally got them together in the third one, but it just didn't feel like the cohesiveness was there.
Yeah. Well, and then I feel also like, Oscar Isaac wasn't really supposed to be in the second or the third one. He was only supposed to be in the first one. Mm-hmm. But people really liked his character so much, and he stuck around, and I agree with that. I thought he was great. But yeah, they kind of started going off in different directions and tangents, and kind of things just didn't go. They just weren't together very much. So it'll be interesting to see if they're in this new one and how much Rey is actually in this, because I could see that as a positive or a negative both ways, if she's in it a lot or not a lot.
Yes, you mentioned Rey Skywalker. She will be forming a new Order of Jedi here, like I said, 15 years after the most recent movie. And one thing I will say that I think makes me feel a little bit more positive about this is we've always just assumed when these movies come out, they come out in trilogies, and this last one clearly didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
If this is a one-off, I think it has a much better chance for success. If you just sit down and you're like, all right, let's just tell this one story. Let's just see where we go with this.
Kind of like Rogue One. Rogue One was phenomenal. It was successful. It was a great movie. I think critics and audiences liked it, and it was a one-off story. It didn't. I mean, you can tell where it fits in with the greater storyline, but it's not we need to make this into a 3-part movie. No.
Yeah. They didn't pull a Hobbit where there was like, we're going to show this
exactly.
this one journey in 3 movies.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how drawn out that would have been? But in a way, they kind of ended up doing that anyway, because you have Andor season 1 and season 2 now. You could argue they actually did split it into 3.
That's a good point.
You could make that argument. I'm not going to make that argument. But one last little announcement they made at the very end. April 28th is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars Return of the Jedi premiering. So look for that in your own movie theaters. It'll be a semi-wide release. We don't know how many theaters are going to put it in, but they're going to try and re-release that movie in theaters. I remember I saw Empire Strikes Back in the theaters, I think roughly when a similar thing happened. It was like an anniversary. It's so awesome watching it in the theater. Like, I had seen the movie like 10 times before that. It was like watching it for the very first time.
I would say watching films in a theater is just so magical. It's so awesome. Even if you've seen it, I'm excited. That one is one I'd for sure go watch again in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm. But that is everything that we're breaking down here with Star Wars. I think a lot of the future seems bright with Star Wars. There's a lot of TV series, and I'm already behind on a few of them already.
Yep,
so
me too.
Got to buckle down on some of these. But I do think Star Wars has a bright future in a galaxy far, far away. But let's talk about things happening right here, right now. It's time for the weekly preview. By the time this video comes out, one of these movies will already be out. Wednesday, April 12th is the premiere date for Beautiful Disaster. The first trailer or thing I looked at said it was just theater release, but then a new trailer I saw looks like it's an Amazon Prime side-by-side, but I know it's also getting released in theaters. So look for it if you want.
I think, I agree with you. I think it's a side-by-side because I saw the Amazon Prime one, and it's like, oh, Amazon Prime? When's the last time you put out a movie to a movie theater?
I was going to say, even when side-by-side theater releases was a thing, Amazon really didn't do that much.
Yeah. No,
so didn't. I was a little curious about that as well. But holy crap, this movie gave me all the wrong vibes.
Cringy.
I gotta be honest. Okay, so right off the bat, you see the poster, you see one of the actors in here, Dylan Sprouse, one of the Zach and Cody twins from Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So not the one who's on Riverdale, that's Cole Sprouse, Dylan Sprouse. He's back.
He's back, baby.
And so I'm excited. I'm like, cool. I want to see him act again. This movie, man, Give me no.
Yeah,
Give
and
me
like
long
the
feeling.
underground fighter mixed with
I totally
college
forgot about
student, like
He competes in an underground fight club. Man.
yeah,
Like
it's
what is this?
It's like Fight Club, but you're at like a college, and you're like, oh, what's up, pigeon? Let's hang out,
Yeah,
pigeon.
he gives the girl a weird pet name.
Yeah.
It just oh god,
It's weird.
I don't know what the message is from this movie, but
I don't either.
it's not a good one,
No.
and they didn't really nail it. So yeah, you have a couple of ways to watch this. Maybe just don't.
Maybe just don't. Sorry, Amazon.
It's make better movies.
Yeah.
or get better movies. I don't know.
Just start working on The Boys. Get The Boys out. That's what I want to see. Hurry up.
I mean, they are.
Doesn't that come out later this year? I think.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, just bump it up a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall-Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall-Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. This month, we're looking at some of the best video game adaptations of all time. So head on over to the Marshall-Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! But then Friday, April 14th, that is when we got the big weekend premieres here, including the likes of Mafia Mama. This one's coming to theaters. Toni Collette stars in this action comedy where she inherits an Italian crime family business after her grandfather died, as one does. I remember when my grandparents died, I think I inherited a drug smuggling ring somewhere along the line.
Very good.
So,
Very
yeah.
good. I got a couple of cool hats.
Well, there you go.
Yep. It's my softball hat to this day.
Nice. This does look the premise, I would say, looks kind of funny. I don't know if the trailer really made it the best case. There was a few moments I laughed, but considering the premise, I expected it to laugh a lot more, I guess. So I don't know if they're pulling their punches, because whenever a trailer looks funny and then it doesn't seem funny, that either means A, they wasted all their jokes in the trailer, or B, they're holding back a lot.
They're holding back a lot. And usually it's the latter where usually it's the former where the movie's not that funny.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm not hoping for.
I know. and that's such a shame because Toni Collette's a really good actor.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's having fun here. So
Yep.
We'll have to see on that one. But also coming out this weekend, The Pope's Exorcist. Russell Crowe plays the real-life religious figure, Father Gabriel Amarth, thank you, who worked directly for the Vatican in the rite of exorcisms. The trailer does something interesting here when it claims. Usually when you see a trailer based on like a true story or a truest story, they're always like based on real-life events or based on a true story. This one, I feel like specifically is like inspired by the actual files of Gabriel. I feel like they're giving themselves an out here because they're trying to say, we think this might be real to kind of scare people. It is a horror movie and it's scarier when you think it's actually real.
It's actually real. Yep.
But they're also trying to not be sued by the Vatican, I think.
Yes.
Because I think the Vatican doesn't want this stuff coming out.
I think it's much more than just an Exorcist film. It looks like it's going into the like Catholic Church, obviously, and kind of shining a light more on them a little bit as to just the demon or the exorcist thing. So I think it looks awesome. I love Russell Crowe. He's the man. He's getting a little chunky. I love it. Why
do you need to fat shame him?
I'm not fat. He's awesome.
Feels like you're fat shaming him.
It's cool. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I think it's going to be good.
I feel like they were giving themselves an out there. And for the record, if the Vatican is watching, I don't come at us, is all I'm saying. Because
don't shut our movie show down.
If you get sued by the Vatican, it's just awkward for everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's like you can't preach don't take revenge and don't value material things and then sue someone at the same time.
True.
And then when you're the suee, it's like, well, what are you? Who are you fighting? Oh, the Vatican, man. They're suing me. Like, well, it's just no one wins. No one wins. Also coming out that weekend, Renfield. We have reached peak Nick Cage here, people.
Yes.
You seem a little, what was that? That seemed a little like not looking forward to this.
No, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun movie to talk about while we're watching it.
I'm super pumped for this. Are you kidding? It is Nick Cage as Dracula, and he is having a ball.
Yeah.
This is the best movies when you just let Nick Cage be Nick Cage.
Just let him go.
You give him the funniest makeup, costumes, all that, and he just goes. But there is a joke in here, too. This is not a good weekend for the Catholic Church. There's a joke in this trailer, too, where they kind of make fun of the Catholic Church, too. I wonder why neither of these movies came out last weekend on Easter.
Yeah, good point.
I wonder why. It's interesting. But, Nick Cage, he's actually more of a supporting character on this. It's really more of a Nicholas Hoult movie.
Yep.
Where he is trying to really get out of a toxic work relationship. So it does seem ridiculous of a movie, but I do think the message here is, something that could be, if done well, can be kind of inspirational.
I agree.
Albeit violent and bloody in this case. But
I don't know how violent or bloody it's going to be. It's going to be funny bloody.
He beheads a dude.
Yeah, but it's a funny bloody, not
and
like,
he's the good.
bloody.
I'm not talking about Nick Cage. I'm talking about Nicholas Hoult. Beheads a dude.
Yeah.
He's the good guy.
It'll be fun to watch.
And then finally here's Suzume. I believe I'm saying that right. This one's for you anime fans out there. In a small town in Japan, a random door seems to be popping up that once opened is bringing destruction, a lot of chaos and stuff like that. Turns a little bit into a road trip movie as these two characters try and essentially stop the apocalypse.
Yep. Shut the doors.
Yeah, if you're a fan of anime, this is more along your speed. If you're not at all, this isn't going to really bring you into that genre.
Yep.
I will say, the one guy turns into a chair.
Yeah, he turns into a chair and he's walking around. It's kind of
he's
funny.
moving around as the chair. I was that kind of sold me on. I was like, I want to see Chair Dude try to save the world.
It kind of made me laugh. But also the animation style, I think, looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge anime person. The only anime that I guess I really watched lately is Demon Slayer. And I know I've heard the animation for the new season is phenomenal. So I'm really excited to watch that. But yeah, I like just animation in general when they do new things or get more inventive, creative. I always like to give it a chance.
Well, that is everything coming out this weekend. Let's move into some number one recommends. Now, Ryan, I know you were pretty excited. Actually, I just made a prediction of what yours is going to be. I don't know if you ever actually told me. So let's actually see if I'm correct in my prediction here.
Why don't you
let them know?
I saw your prediction, and I decided to exit. I'm going to do that next week.
Okay. I'll just remake the graphic then later.
Okay. So my recommendation this month is, you guessed it, Super Mario. If you like the games, if you played the games, if you like Mario, if you like Jack Black, go check this film out. If you like Anya Taylor-Joy, go check this film out. It's very lighthearted. It doesn't get into too deep like a lot of the Pixar films or some of those Disney films get really emotional. This one's not quite as much, but if you have any sort of connection to any of the Mario games, I highly suggest go watching it and just sit back and enjoy it. It's a lot of nostalgia, a lot of callbacks to the games, and yeah, just give it a shot. You'll like it.
I didn't really see anything great this past week. I saw some stuff, nothing that I would recommend, so I was going to skip it, but then I remember there was something I wanted to recommend a while ago. I hadn't gotten around to it. I was actually going to wait until I saw a little bit more of the show, but I feel confident enough recommending the season 1 of Outer Banks. I've only seen season 1 so far. I'll admit it, I didn't watch this for the longest time because it just looked overrated to me. Yeah. It looked like something I would not be into at all. And there are some parts of it that it is kind of like that. But I did finally watch it down after being held hostage by my sister. But it does have a fun treasure hunting mystery to it. And as someone who, speaking of Nicolas Cage, loves treasure hunting and National Treasure and Indiana Jones and all those sort of mystery fun things, it kind of drew me in. And a lot of the characters kind of grew on me. I thought there was some good humor. There was a plot twist at the end there too that kind of made me go, whoa, okay, we're doing that. Oh, right. We're doing it now. That happened. So yeah, I'll hopefully check out the other remaining seasons here in the near future. But I will say Outer Banks, I had low expectations coming in. Overall, was pretty satisfying.
You had low expectations and it was a little bit above them?
I don't know if I had low expectations. I guess I had low expectations. Yeah, I guess that's the way to put it. It was more than a little bit above them.
Okay.
Don't make it sound bad, all right? But that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. If you want to check out some of the greatest movies, both new and old, head on over to the Marshall 6 Theater as well as the Marshall Lyon County Library. And as always, if you have any of your own movie recommendations, be sure to let us know in the comments or on the streets. Use a carrier pigeon, AOL email, something like that.
If you're in the Mario universe, you could attach it to a turtle shell and jump on it.
Yep.
And then the turtle
launch
shell
it our way. Yep. We'll get it that way as well.
Yep.
For myself, Ryan Meyerberg, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.